Hi guys, we should be good to go for another Q&A, and I will try to make these like every month now. It won't be maybe it will be 1st of April once it's released, but I think I will make it one day earlier. But what did I want to get to? Yeah, the camera is a little bit different. I'm just playing a little bit with it to see if because I would like to show off more of the table or the things on the table, and maybe the angle, because also my hands looked way too big on the other camera, so maybe they look more normal now. Okay. I asked you on G+, I have a few questions, and I asked you to ask on Twitter with the handle #AskTheDam, and I got exactly one question. And that's why I will take that one first. The first one would be from Jeremy. What features would you like to see in the next Android OS release? That's it for that. So, what would I like to see? I definitely want to see multi-window, dual window, something like that, because I actually have it on my S7 now, and I actually use it more than I thought. A little bit actually. Because it's actually quite handy. What I definitely want to see on next Android is the nicer or smarter, in my opinion, quick settings, because now there is a little bar with all the most important ones, and if you swipe once again you have them all. So that is already nice. What else would I like to see? I definitely want to see the dose during motion. That is something very important, but that's pretty much it. So all they announced already is what I want. I can't really think of anything much more. I would like to maybe have a new color palette, because I don't really like that teal. But other than that, what else to improve? It is already great. Okay, let's start with the first question from Google+. I have like 10 at best. So, from John C. Bradley, how confident was you in front of the camera when you first started making YouTube videos compared to now? I am not even confident now. Maybe in these Q&As, in the ramblings and so on. But if I do a review, I'm still very, I wouldn't say confident. No, but I wouldn't say I'm confident. I'm maybe not confident, but there is still a lot that I have to get myself over, especially due to my language, because the part you don't see, and everyone says, or at least the more loyal fans say, that my English has gotten better. Yes, but they don't see the fails, because sometimes I trip so hard over some words. Not that it's an issue for me anymore, because I don't care, because whatever my English is, it is. But that makes it a little bit harder, and that makes me a little bit less confident, because if I wouldn't have issues with my speech, and I would properly be able to talk, which I can't even do in German right now, because I did a video in German and I trip so much over the English words now, because I try to mix them in, because all my tech I do on YouTube is English. And so I would be way more confident, but at first I was and I'm not quite sure how long I actually never was in front of the cam, because I said in front of the cam, and I think like half a year I was only behind the camera. And I think my very first video was either the Acer W8, I think it was, review, or the which tablets I can recommend also. But I think it was the Acer review, I'm pretty sure, because that one I did still in my dining room to the white wall and my hands looked big, and a few people told me that, and I wasn't really, yes, I was definitely nervous, but I was also very like shocked in front of the camera. I wasn't loose at all, and I talked so stiff. And actually that was the time when some of my colleagues found out that I have a YouTube channel, and they checked those videos and they laughed like crazy because I was so wooden. And they think still I do, because they don't check the videos, and I'm really glad for that, because it's a little bit embarrassing for me, because yeah, it still looks a little bit silly. So I definitely had to go a long while until I was a little bit more confident in the reviews. Once I'm in the review, and that's why I make this one-part videos where I can do one whole video at one take, because once I'm into it, I have the flow and I can use it. But what I did a while is make a display video, make a sound video, make a performance video. I had to go into all that flow every time, and that's why I stopped it. I can't do that. I hate it. And these days, if I do a Q&A, if I do a rambling, then I'm I don't have to be confident, because I can be just me, and that is something that I definitely prefer. So I will still have to work on the camera. Next question from Finn K. Nifwald. Has your review process changed at all since you've gotten more experienced? I would definitely say I got way more into a routine now, because if I get, for example, an Android device, it's always the same. I boot it up and then I install my whole plethora of apps, which would be, and I wanted to actually do a video once when or where I show off all the apps that I need to my review process, and actually get through quite some of them, because the first one that I always install is Phoenix, because Phoenix gives me a good intention of, or look how the app performs, and then Palaver, because if I have these two apps, then I can already pretty much tell you how well the device will perform, because they have the inbuilt browser from Chrome as well as their own engine for the scrolling, and these two apps already tell me so much about the device. Then Google Plus is always something that I always review. Naked browser, because I still use that one, and then there are a few more apps like Studio App and all that, but it's definitely become a routine. I install all of that, and what I do the first day is pretty much the first cycle. I install all my apps, do a little bit of gaming, and after that it's pretty much just normally using the device. Then on the last day, this is something I really mostly just do on the last day, is the camera test, and then I go outside, make a few shots, check them out and all that. So I'm definitely not going too in-depth into the camera. And if I do a Windows device, for example, it's pretty bare bones in what I install, and pretty much install Firefox at best, maybe if the performance is good enough, then Chrome, a few tools, a few universal apps to check that, and then I just use it as I would my desktop or my home theater PC. And there I don't really use too much different apps. I do pretty basic stuff. At least I don't need many apps. So it has become a routine, if you ask about that, because my review process didn't really change. I had that routine quite early, and I followed that for a long time to make my videos more consistent. So if you wouldn't check a review from 1 year ago, it would pretty much give you the same details or information that it did, or that it would now. Okay, the next question would be from John Matthews. Do you see EMUI changing anytime soon to a more stock-like experience? That would be the first question. And he says in brackets, having app drawer, more material design, etc. I don't see that, because they are so far away that if they would in a quite near future change to a more material design, it would be just too far off. And they are a Chinese brand, and they are big in Chinese, and if they would switch so far off in terms of design, they could drive away their biggest market in China. So if maybe gradually, slowly, but I actually don't see too much happening, because the design, Chinese manufacturers stick to their design. Oh, sorry, I have a little bit of something in my eye. And I don't think that will change. Maybe. And the material design in terms of apps, I don't actually even want to, because they have a quite nice first party app design. So I don't think that much will happen here. The next question from him again, and speculation on the next flagships of the year: HTC 10, Huawei P9, Nexus PP, Nexus XP. What are my thoughts on that? HTC H10, HTC 10. I definitely think it will be a great device. I think they will make up for quite a lot. And if actually the speaker or the earpiece on top is a speaker as well, with maybe once on the bottom, or from the leaks now we haven't even seen that, but if the speaker is solid, if they get the camera a little bit actually improved from the A9, which had already great camera, I'm pretty sure the performance will be top, because the M9 from last year is still one of the best performing devices. The A10 in that device maybe wasn't the best one in terms of efficiency, battery life and heat, but the performance was spot on. So I'm pretty sure they will nail that once again. And I think it could be one of the best devices. It will be fielded premium. If they nail the display and everything, it could be definitely a very close competitor to the Samsung S7 in terms of quality and overall experience, but in terms of sales, of course not. The Huawei P9, very interesting. From now on the leaks, it looks a lot like the old one. Nothing wrong with that. If they make it what it seems like from the leaks, a little bit rounder, then I will like it even more so, because the inner feel of those older Huawei device was a little bit edgy, and I want something a little bit more round, because it's already super premium. So I am definitely looking forward to that. And the Nexus phones, I think it's a little bit too early to speculate if actually HTC will build them or not. I think if HTC will build them, it could be a huge success. If they go properly into one another with Google, then it could be a great device. But I'm also, I don't want to speculate too much on that. And then the last question from him would be also, where do you think Moto is going with their physical design? Will the design being something like you have, like this one? And I will put a picture here what he means, and I'm not quite sure. It would surprise me a lot if they, in terms of, I should have changed the camera because I want to sit a little bit more leaned back on these videos. No, I don't think it will look like this, because it would be very surprising for me if they change so much away from their Moto maker with leather and all that, and if they would make now an all metal design, that wouldn't be quite possible. So maybe it's just a variant of that, but I actually don't want it. I would like to have their unique approach with the Moto maker, with leather and plastic and all that. Metal, we have enough phones that do that with Huawei, HTC and so on. The next question: what is your barometer it's actually from Francisco Tapia. Sorry if I butchered that. What is your barometer for judging good battery life? Define your battery life stat requirement by on-screen versus standby. So what I, let's say, need or expect from a device in terms of standby would be, let's say, solid 20 hours. It has to get through that with a screen on time, and I would say give me solid. This means even with a little bit of a heavier use, solid 4 hours of screen on time. This is what I need or expect. But if it's something that I wish or want, I would say give me solid 36 hours of standby or in overall, because that would allow me to get me through 2 days with, let's say, at the end, at least 10% left of battery and a screen on time of 5 hours. That would be totally enough for solid, easily save 2 days for me without even having to think about the battery life, because I won't use up 5 hours of screen time over the course of 2 days, and 36 hours of screen time would be enough. So if someone offers me that I had a while on my Sony Xperia Z3, then this is super safe, because what I want is to get through 2 days without even thinking about that. But as for right now, as we are in terms of battery life, I'm actually okay with 1 day of battery life without having to think. And with most phones you get this these days. The next one from Dean Wallace: GIF or GIF? Think carefully, it's important. And another one down below said a good one. Okay, here's the one thing. I have to actually say this, because before I ever talked or spoke or pronounced this word in English, I've said it, of course, in German. And in German, pretty much everyone says GIF. But once I was actually talking in English, more in my head usually, I think I said GIF. Maybe I said sometimes GIF, but I don't think it really is that important. But I would say, if you ask me, I would say GIF, because that's the more common thing that I usually say. But I think a few times, especially in English, because of the G, I actually say it GIF. It could be, but I would say like 90% GIF. Then next question from Dean Brickland: if you never started a YouTube channel, what would you be doing now with your free time? And that is a very good question, because that's actually one that I asked myself a lot. And what I did is, especially when the channel wasn't going that well, when it wasn't, a little bit stagnating, I didn't really have the review units, I so many times thought, what if I would have sent in a few articles to the Droid Effect? I wouldn't have gotten into the whole YouTube thing. What would have been? And actually, a while ago I thought, oh man, I shouldn't have. It would have been better. But if I would, like you say, think what I would do now, I think I would be doing pretty much the same I did before, and that was watch a shitload of TV shows and movies. Something I don't do so much anymore, because I cut down a little bit. But I wouldn't really do so much. I wouldn't play so much. I would listen to definitely a lot more music, because music was something very big for me. Something that I just don't get too much to listen to anymore. And otherwise it would be TV shows like crazy. I was really an active guy. I didn't really do much active stuff, but it would be this. And I'm actually by now super happy, because I get to play with so much tech, something that I would have liked to have done in the past, but just had no access to. So this is something that I'm definitely enjoying a lot, and definitely why I'm not regretting it anymore. I got through my let's say, dark ages, went through all the shit, and by now I'm on a level where I get enough review devices to be full of them at all times, and I get quite easy access, maybe not as the first one, but I still watch a lot of TV shows, because if I have for example, a laptop or a tablet, I watch a lot of TV shows on that to actually use the device, so that is great. And for example, right now, what do I have? I have the Samsung Galaxy S7 still to review, okay, that's my own device. Then I have the Nexus 5X, the 6P, the Honor 7, the Dell Venue 8 Pro, the Dell Latitude 7470 that I just did on hands-on. Then I will get the Huawei Mate 8 for a comparison with the Nexus 6P and a re-review. So as you can see, over the next few weeks I am busy already, and I already have a lot of things upcoming again, and I really am happy that I don't have to ask myself anymore what would I have done, because I'm really happy where I am right now. Still, I would have liked to be a little bit higher on top to get those things a little bit earlier, but being able to play with tech is what makes me happy, and that is great. And of course, sharing this with you and making these videos here. The next question, again from Dean Brickland. If you could be in charge of one company currently making smartphones, which one would you choose, and what would you change about their phones? And a little bit surprising, but since he asked me one company and then choose everything, I would go for Samsung. And why? Because first of all, it's the biggest company, and if you want to change things, and if I would be the boss, if I could direct what they do, I would have the biggest potential there. And why as well? They make the best screens, they make pretty much the best cameras, and if I could now change a few things, because if I would be the boss of Samsung on the S7, I would definitely switch the buttons somewhere to the right, just to make it a little bit more convenient. Maybe lighten up TouchWiz or make it a little bit more Damir friendly. I didn't say user friendly because I don't care. I want it to be my phone, or at least better for me. I would get away from some stuff that maybe people like, but I would add a few things that I like. So that would be definitely the brand, because they can build great phones. The design, at least with this year's phones, is spot on. Build quality is top. Display, sound okay, I would change that as well. But Samsung, it's absolutely Samsung. If I would have to choose a second one, I'm struggling a little bit between Sony and maybe HTC, or maybe actually even Huawei, because Huawei can build great devices and you would only have to choose, make it a little bit more round and maybe switch the UI over. But let's say these three companies as a good runner-up. The next question from Matthias Anerby. Build your perfect phone in words. Okay, I'm assuming now I can build one on my own right now with parts, but I want to stay definitely realistic what is possible right now. So I would go for 5 inches, Super AMOLED, Quad HD. Why Quad HD? Because these days you can make it efficient enough and it still looks overall a little bit better. So Super AMOLED, Quad HD. Then I would actually really, and that is very surprising to many, I would stick with the home button and the capacitive buttons, because I got so used to it. It allows me to use so much more gestures. So button layout from Samsung actually on the front. Power button I would leave as it is. So as you see, the S7 is a reference for perfect phone in a few terms. Then, like I said, the volume rocker on the right side. The rest, yeah, definitely the speaker somewhere on the front. It would make the device a little bit larger, but if that would be somehow possible, maybe the earpiece and so on. So give me front facing, that would be great. USB Type-C would be still nice, because I really appreciate it on the Nexuses, because, or the Nexi, because it is more convenient. SD card would stay. Camera, yes. What else? Performance, I'm not quite even sure if I would want to have the Snapdragon 820, because the Exynos here does a great job. Battery, does it have to be bigger? Maybe put in, if possible, not to make the device a shitload bigger, let's say 3200, but it doesn't have to be more. If it's just 5 inches, 3000 is absolutely fine with me. So that would actually be it for right now. In terms of software, give me the performance of
something like in between as Nexus and an HTC device. And why I said Nexus, not just Nexus, because Nexus has already the best performance. The scrolling is actually there something prefer on Samsung, because Samsung has this hovering scrolling where Nexuses tend to blur out the whole display a little bit with scrolling. So I think maybe that's one way how to achieve, or how they achieve to get this smooth scrolling, because it makes a little bit of a blur. And I even noticed that on the Nexus 6P, because I thought at first the scrolling, the blurry scrolling and smooth scrolling was because of the LCD display, but no, the 6P does it as well, so it has to be something in their engine. So I actually prefer the Samsung scrolling. And the last question from John Matthews, another question: when will this video be put up? So we have, let's actually see, at least from your standpoint, when I achieved that. It's Thursday, March 31st, 1 p.m., 1:20 p.m. So what I will do now is first edit this hands-on video of this bad boy. And if you didn't watch it, because I like it. Then let's say I need about, with the upload time, with the editing, it should happen on March 31st, but I actually think I should release it maybe on April 1st. But that's April Fool's Day. I have to think about that. I think I will release this one on 31st, just not to get in the way. I don't want to release a video on April Fool's Day. But from then now on, I think I will make this like once a month. But this video should be up late of Thursday. I covered it. Yes. Happy enough with that. I am good. So if you liked it, if you have more questions next time, because usually I get a little bit more, but that's fine. The camera, not so happy with that. I should have at least zoomed in a little bit. Come on. So if you enjoyed it, thumbs up. If you want to see more, leave me more likes, because then I know that these Q&As are worth it. Reshare it so more people know about it and more people can like it and more people can subscribe to the channel to allow me to get the devices faster. Okay, until next time, bye.